Hi guys, so today I'm back with my 5th video I believe, and I'll be sharing with you guys my first ever story time on YouTube. And today's story time, it was like really hard. I was like, what story time should I do? But a lot of you guys wanted me to do a story time, so here I am, and I'll be doing the story time that obviously the time I thought I was gonna get fired. So if you are interested, keep on watching. Alrighty, so this story took place at my old job. Right now I'm not working, but I was working at a Mexican restaurant, if you guys don't know that. And our shifts were that at first when I started working, there was 4 of us working in the afternoon. But then they got like another location, and so that's for me, that's like when I felt like shit went down. Because now there was only 3 of us in the afternoon, and the way it was me, my boss's wife, and this little girl that would help us out. This little girl would help us take menus, like take drinks, like little things like that, because she couldn't actually take like a whole plate because, you know, she was little and our boss didn't want her to be doing that kind of stuff. Okay, so in this particular situation, there was this one lady, this bitch, I cannot stand her. Like, she was old, she probably had kids, I don't know, like whatever, and she would always order, you know, like, oh shit, she would always order like for like 6, I don't know, it was like 6 to 8 people, you know. She would like get a pretty big order, and there was like 2 incidents where we actually did forget one of her plates, and you know, she would always give us attitude about it, but like, you know, that's chill because that would have been me too, you know, like, bitch, get my shit right, you know. So on this particular day, she called me and ordered, and I was like, that's chill, you know, like, I do to-go orders all the time. So I was like, yes, what can I get for you? And like, she told me, I don't remember what exactly it was, but it was like 6 to 8 different plates. And like, I wrote them down, and I repeated it to her like 4 different fucking times. 4 bitches, 4, like, probably even more, but you know, anyways, she's like, after I was done repeating it to her, she's like, my husband's gonna go pick it up if that's fine. And I was like, oh, that's totally, like, that's totally fine. I was like, does he know like his order? And he's like, yeah, he should know. I was like, okay, then that's chill. Okay, so meanwhile this was all happening, I had customers, and this was, I want to say it was a Saturday. When was, okay, so this was on Christmas Eve. And so before that, I had asked the boss, like, hey, are you guys gonna open Christmas Eve? And they said yes. And so I was like, the fuck? Like, my little ass ain't trying to work Christmas Eve. Like, that's when I celebrate Christmas, you know. But since I was used to working in the afternoon, I was like, okay, well, if we're opening, can I work in the morning at least, you know? And he was like, so chill about it. He's like, yeah, like, don't even trip, like, I already got that all organized, like, don't even trip, just come in that Saturday at 9:30, but I would always get there at 10, so they knew. And I was like, alright, like, feeling like a badass, like, hell yeah, I don't get to work in the afternoon, you know, feeling like a badass. And so we had people like throughout the day, and there was 3 of us. It was me, not my boss's wife, this other cook, and then the little girl. And so keep in mind, I was a waitress, I was a cook, I was a cashier, like, I would do everything, you know. So that included tables, that included drive-thrus, that included phone calls, that included the cashier, like me to help the lady in the back, help her cook, or help in the like back to like cut shit up and stuff, like lettuce, like tomato and all that stuff. And so, you know, it was pretty, like, by the end of the day I was like pretty exhausted. So okay, so going back to the lady, she had called me, and then we were doing her order, and I told the cook, I was like, I'm gonna help you do this particular one. Like, I would help her. I would help her with one dish, and then I would like run to the tables, and she would do like one dish, and then I'd come back, you know. So I was like, I'm gonna help you do this particular one, because if we don't do it right, she's gonna come back and complain. And so we did it and everything, and I told the little girl, I was like, hey, can you fill up a cup of salsa, because salsa was always an issue with her. She always wanted like hella more than what we're supposed to give you. But I was like, that's chill. Like, I feel bad because I did actually forget your order like once, and then my other friend, coworker, she did it once too. So, you know, I felt bad, and I was like, dude, that's so chill. Like, either way, salsa, like, fuck that, you know, like, fuck, like, duh. I always ask for extra salsa too. So I was like, yeah, that's chill. And I asked her if she can do that. She's like, yeah, that's fine. So she went and she filled it up. And then me and the cook were making her order. And I was like, dude, okay, do this right. I was telling her how to do everything exactly how the bitch wanted. And she would, I don't remember if it was enchiladas or tacos doradas. But for tacos doradas, we give 4. And then for enchiladas, we give 3. Dude, what the fuck? And she always wanted an extra one. So I was like, okay, you better do an extra one. And I was doing that. Okay, I was saying that I was opening the boxes to check if that's how they work. Okay, so I did that, like, especially for her. And once, like, that was done, like, I put that off to the side, and I had a couple tables, you know. I probably had, like, 12 to 15 tables. And that's a lot if you think about it, for 3 people. 1 waitress and 1 cook. And one little girl that's helping us, like, do just like little shit. And so there was this one guy, like, he got me even more pissed, because he came in and he was one of the first ones, like, besides like the other tables, and the other tables are pretty big, you know. They probably had like 4, 5, like 6, you know. And he was by himself. So I mean, he was first, so I was obviously gonna take his order first, but he was actually the, like, just by himself. So I was like, dude, either way, if he didn't come by himself, oh my god, I'm sorry. I was like, either way, if he didn't come by himself, I would have still taken his order, because he was, like, just by himself. And so I was like, hi, how are you doing? Can I get anything to drink? Can I get you anything to drink? I can start you off. Oh my god, you guys get it. And he's like, no. And I was like, okay, I'm sorry, like, if I did anything wrong, if I said anything wrong. And I was like, okay, well, then I went to go ask other tables if they want anything to drink, and they said yeah, and I went, and then I would come back each time, and he was saying no. And I was like, that's weird. And I was like, oh, he's probably waiting for someone else. So it was probably one of the couple last tables, and I was like, are you ready now, sir? And he's like, and actually he didn't even ask for a drink. He said, can I get a ceviche? And I was like, yeah, sure, of course, you know, because I'm a nice person. And I was like, can I get anything, like, do you want anything to drink? And he was like, just give me an horchata, like, with so much attitude. And I was like, excuse me, sir, I don't know what the fuck I did to you, but, like, you ain't even supposed to be treating me like this, because I have not given you any reasons to be treating me like this. And so he was like that, you know. And then meanwhile, he was like, I was having issues with him. That lady's husband pulls up through the drive-thru window, and I was like, ugh, I already know what I'm like. I don't like him, you know? Like, you know when you don't like a certain person and you're just like, oh. But you have to be the grown person and, like, not say anything. So I was trying to be the grown person. Bitch, I'm not grown. And I was like, oh yeah. I was like, it's gonna be, your total's gonna be this much. And he's like, that's fine. And I was like, can you please check if I have all, like, your food, you know? Your wife told me that you would know. And he's like, yeah, of course. Like, he looked at it and he's like, oh yeah, that's fine, you know? And I was like, okay, that's chill. I was like, and I'll be right back with your change. So I went to go get his change, and I came back, and okay, so nothing out of the order, whatever. And so he left, and I was still dealing with this guy, you know, and, like, the other table. So I was like, whatever, like, fuck yeah, thank god he didn't call. So I was, like, you know, doing my job at the tables, and the phone rang, and I was like, I wasn't thinking anything of it, right? Like, I was like, oh, maybe it's just another order. But since the little girl was there, and I was like, can you please, like, pick up the phone and, like, ask, because she already knew, like, the menu and stuff. So, And I was like, I'll be right there, you know, and then, because I was attending other people. And she's like, yeah. She picked it up, and like, I saw her little face just drop. She was like she went back, you know. And I was like, fuck, like, what the fuck did we do wrong? And I was like, can you guys give me a second to the table? Or I don't know if it was, yeah. There was a table, and then someone, like, another customers needed me to cash them out. And I was like, can you guys please give me a second? My mom just bursted in my video. Anyways, so yeah, the little girl's face like dropped, and I was like, fuck. And okay, so I was telling them, I was like, can you guys please give me a second? They're like, yeah, that's fine, take your time. I ran my little ass across the fucking room, and I was like, hello? And she's like, I asked for 2 burritos, and you guys only gave me 1, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, whoa, like, she was screaming at me, like, y'all don't even understand. Like, my mom has never screamed at me that much. And I was like, excuse me, like, are you my mom? Because I don't fucking think so. But anyways, I was like, really? I'm sorry, like, I only wrote down 1, and I repeated it to you 4 times, and you said that was fine, and I asked your husband to check it, and he said that was fine. You know, I got all your guys' authority. And she's like, and I was like, I'm sorry. When I said I'm sorry, she's like, she was Paisa, so she told me this in Spanish, but let me take it in English. She's like, sorry, no, you guys always do this to me, blah, 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 like, you know, like, yelling at me nonstop. And so this is what she said in Spanish. I was like, sorry. And she's like, sorry ni que nada, siempre me hacen esto y no sé qué. Like, just bitching at me. And I was like, oh my god. And I, like, told her what happened. I was like, and if you guys did order 2, I only charged you 1. I was like, but if you guys want another one, like, you guys can come back. And, like, I could have even give them a discount because, you know, like, I felt bad. Even though it wasn't even my fault. And she was, like, still bitching at me. And I was, like, non-stop, like, she wouldn't even let me talk. And I was like, done, you know. I was like, fuck you, bitch, you're no one to be fucking yelling at me like this, you know. Like, even if it was my fault, like, you're not even supposed to be yelling at me this much. Like, fuck you. Like, hope you fucking watch this, bitch, and you fucking understand. And okay, so she was like, blah 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 blah, and I hung up on that bitch. Yep, I hung up on her. Like, I was done. And I had attitude from this nigga, and I had attitude from this bitch. I was like, not today. And so at this point in my life, I hadn't had a day off for over 2 months. And weekends, I would work morning and afternoon, and they'd probably let me go home for like an hour. But sometimes I'd be like, what the fuck am I gonna go do for an hour at home? Like, really? Like, really? Like, nothing. So sometimes I would want to stay, and I'd just stay the whole day. And, like, I was done. Like, school had me fucked up. Like, I'm not even complaining about school. School wasn't, like, my school's pretty chill. But, you know, I still had to get my shit done. So school and then work. And I was, like, fucking done. Like, I was done. So I hung up, and then I cashed the people out, and I took the order, and I was like, I'm so sorry. And they're like, you're fine, like, you know, we get it. And he's like, I feel bad for you, you know, like, they felt bad for me because they saw I was struggling. And this one guy, the one guy I told you guys that, he was like giving me attitude. And I was like, the last time I asked him, I was like, hey, is everything fine? And he was like, no response. Stood up and went to like the front desk to pay me. And I was like, oh shit, you want me to cash you out? Alright, like, I have no problem with that. But like, I asked him, and then I asked the table that was next to him. And so I was asking him why he went to the front, and I was like, how's everything? And they said, that's fine. And then I went to cash him out, and I was like, how's everything, sir? You know, like, positive vibes. And he was like, well, it wasn't even good, but whatever. I'm like, excuse me, sir, like, did I do anything wrong? Because, like, what the fuck? Why you give me so much attitude? And I was like, oh really? Like, I'm sorry, like, do you want me to make you like the same dish but like a different plate or a different meal? And he was like, no, I don't want nothing. I just want my change so I can get the fuck out. I was like, whoa, like, what the fuck? And so I didn't tell you guys, the way he was looking at me, he was looking at me like, ew, bitch, you disgust me. Like, that's how he was looking at me. So I'm like, what the fuck? What did I do to you? You know, like I mean, when I would go to work, I wouldn't even get like hella ready. Like, I'm pretty ready right now, but when I work, fuck that, my colita. Like, I get out of work, I would get out of school, and I would come home, take a nap, and then I would go leave to work. Like, I was still like, you know, sleeping as fuck. And so I was like, okay, chill. Like, if you don't find me attractive, fuck. Like, I'm not trying to be attractive. Like, I'm just trying to do my fucking work. And okay, so he was just giving me attitude, and I was done. Like, I was exhausted. We had people. Well, we didn't even have like a shit ton of people. We're like, oh my god, Lord help me. But you know, we had people, and even if like other people wouldn't consider to have a lot of people, we had shit to do in the back. So if I didn't have shit from the people, like my customers, I would get shit from the back, you know. So I was like corriendo, like you guys don't even understand. And I think that's one of the like parts I like lost hella weight. Like, you guys always like see me and you're like, damn, you're so skinny now, and I'm like, whoa, like, yo bitch, like yeah. And so yeah, like I was like stressed out. You guys don't even understand. And around this time when all this was happening, it was like 2:30. Okay, so keep in mind there's 2 shifts, one in the morning, which ends at 4, and then the afternoon that starts at 4. And so if we were to close, we would have had to start cleaning up like at 3 so that we could end like at 4:30ish. You know, it takes a while to clean up a fucking restaurant. Like, we were quick about it, so, and we didn't do a bad job, you know, like we did everything, every little thing. And so I called my boss. I was like, hello. I was like, hey, can you like, are we gonna close, or like what the fuck? Because honestly, like, I had people, and if we do close, like, I need to hurry up even more, even though I was exhausted. And he's like, whoa, like, chill, bitch, why you giving me attitude? That's what he didn't tell me that, but like that's what his reaction was. And I was like mad, and I was like, he's like, yeah, chill though, like me and my wife are gonna go like to help you guys. And I was like, okay. I was like, okay, but like I know, like deep down inside I was like, low-key, you guys ain't even gonna help, like, because most of the time they just got there and they ate and like let us do the work. And then like the last thing, if they saw that we really needed the help, they would come in and help. And so that's how it was this time. They came, they sat down. Like, I didn't talk to them, they didn't, like, I think they talked to the other, like their employees, but I don't know, I was pissed. So I would go to my other, like, my tables, and I would be like, oh hey, how are you guys doing? Like, like, you know, like hella different attitude. And I would go in the back, I would turn around, like, for my customers, I'd be like, don't fucking talk to me, you know. Like, that's how I was, just irritated the fuck. Like, I was so irritated. And he was like, well, you know, like, anyways, my day ended, my shift ended. It was like 4, and we probably left like at 5 something. Like, we you know, we had shit to do. And then the cook and the little girl, they left, and I would always stay, you know, just, I don't know why I would stay. I would just chill on my phone and be like, okay, I'm leaving, you know. But I would always be the last one. And he's like, hey, like, they call me güera because of my hair. So she's like, he was always like, güera, como, like, how was it? And I was like, how's your day? Like, how was this and that? And I was like, really? Like, you're gonna ask me how was my day? Like, can my face not fucking tell you? Like, I just wanted to burst in tears because I was so stressed out. And so I was like, honestly, I'm exhausted as fuck. And then he's like, fuck, you know, like, but he understood. He's like, dude, like, I'm sorry, you know, like, I was gonna say something I wasn't supposed to say, but he was like, I'm really sorry, like, I know you do a lot of work and I really appreciate it, blah blah blah. And he's like, but is anything else wrong? And I was like, ugh. I was so scared to tell him, like, I'm not that kind of a person. I've never imagined myself doing anything like that, because I'm really actually like so nice. So I was like kind of embarrassed to tell them, like, fuck, like, how embarrassing is that actually? And I was like, I know I'm just gonna get fired right here. He's like, what's wrong? Like, I was like, so this one lady, like, said that we forgot one of her burritos, whatever it was, and she, like, was bitching at me, like, constantly. And I offer her an apology. Like I would offer her different things I could do for her, and she was just like really like upset with me. And so this is what his wife's response was. And if you guys do not know his wife, well, they both look really mean, but his wife can be like a little bit more rude. And so I was like, fuck, she's gonna yell at me like hella, like, ugh. So I was scared. And she was like, no, don't ever let anyone disrespect you like that. If they have a problem, tell them, no, give them my personal phone number, and like we'll fix shit there, you know. I was like, bitch, what? Like, I thought she was gonna be like, get the fuck out of my restaurant. Like, because if you guys work with customers, you guys know customers come first. So I was expecting that. I was like, fuck, like I just lost my job here, you know. And like I was shook. She said that, like, don't let anyone disrespect you like that. If they have a problem, tell them to come talk to us. I was like, whoa. And then my boss was like, yeah, he's like, do not let anyone disrespect you like that. No, there shouldn't be any like no reason like for someone to treat you like that. He's like, and if there was, like, you should have like told them to call us. And I was like, I'm sorry, I didn't. Like, I panicked, like I didn't know what to do, like I was stressed out. And he's like, well, he's like, I really appreciate you telling me this, like, and we get it, like we get it, because this is what he told me. He's like, you're a really good hard worker, and I understand where your stress came, and I understand why you would do that. And I was like about to cry because I felt so bad that I had done something like that, you know. And I was like, dude, like, thank you so much for understanding. Like, yeah, like their response took off all the stress I had from work that day. And I was like, well, like, thank you guys so much. And they were actually really nice. She gave us a buñuelo. Do you guys know what that is? Like, that shit was so bomb. I was like, oh my god, like, she even rewarded me for this, you know. But yeah, that was a story, my story time, where I thought I was about to get fired. But thankfully it wasn't like that. And I can do a different story time where I quit. So if you guys want to see that, let me know. If you guys have any other video suggestions, please also let me know. I love you guys so much, and I'll see you guys in my next video.